Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and welcome to Bizcast, a production of the VIP Media Group of companies, where we for young persons in particular, in business here in Montserrat and for the field. We here this afternoon speaking to Ruel Juke, a young entrepreneur here. Good day, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm blessed. Nice having me. Nice to have me on the program, rather.
Okay, great, man. So, Ruel, tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, as you said, my name is Ruel Duke. Most persons on Montserrat would know me. I teach at the Montserrat Secondary School, and I've been teaching there for a few years. I currently teach the business subjects, which would be principles of business, principles of accounts, office procedure. And by teaching the subjects over a few years, I just started thinking about different small businesses that I might be able to set up as a business teacher. One of the things that I had always not wanted to do was to be somebody who wanted to teach about small business and setting up of small businesses, but I'd also wanted to be able to be someone who would have owned or would have started a small business. So yeah, that's basically me. Young entrepreneur. Well, I don't know how young I'd be considered to some people, but yeah, young entrepreneur, teacher, husband, father, friend. Yeah.
Okay, and you speak about the fact that you are a young entrepreneur, where we introduce you as a young entrepreneur. Tell us about one of the business or the main business that you are owner, manager of here in Montserrat.
Oh, so all right. The business that most persons might or would know me associated with is Rock Prints. Rock Prints is a garment, apparel, screen printing organization. We mainly specialize in screen printing as our method of garment decoration. This would be mainly because of most of the other methods. This is known to be one of the most reliable method, and there was a need for it on Montserrat. There was someone who was doing it before, actually several persons, but there would have been a slight void in terms of the amount of persons supplying the service and the amount of persons demanding it. So yeah, I decided to start the business so that I could have been able to share my appreciation of garment apparel with the general public. There might be a few other businesses that there are a few other businesses that I would have been involved in, but those are on the minor end, and yeah, mainly Rock Prints.
Okay, you told us about the why you set up the business and some of the products or the products that you offer and being screen printed mainly.
Yeah.
You screen printing and tell us more about the products.
Okay, so I started off only doing screen printing, only focusing on that side of the garment decoration side of the business. But over the period when we were under lockdown from the pandemic, I'd acquired a few other pieces of equipment, and mainly stuff to do vinyl printing, stickers, decals, and to also offer services of garment decoration using heat transfer. Now, it wasn't something that I had really wanted to go into, but a lot of my customers came requesting it. And as a businessman, it's not good for you to turn your business or turn your customers away and send them to another business because you do not offer that service. So because mainly most of my customers were requesting it, I decided, it would be in my best interest and in the business's best interest to invest in equipment and start offering those services. So initially started off doing screen printing, but now we do stickers for your cars, stickers for your vehicles, stickers for your door. We do mugs, again, mainly just the sticker side. Doing stickers that you can put onto your mugs, happy birthday names, personalize it. We do multicolored heat transfer printing, but again, these would be like mainly for persons who just want to have this one shirt to do a birthday shoot in, but not something that they're going to be wearing consistently, right? Beside that, I think that's basically it. We garment decoration in terms of heat transfer, vinyls. Oh, we also do wall decals. Recently started doing decals that affirmations that persons would stick on their walls with, different scriptures or different sayings that they want to, just remind themselves of daily, either when they wake up or when they're in a particular place of dwelling in their house.
Okay, so well, we know where the inspiration came from and all that. Tell us, how did it got started?
Well, all right. So I initially I started screen printing at the school that I work at Montserrat Secondary School. Uh, it was an idea that I put out to my business club students, and what we did was we would print all of the shirts for the school, whether it would have been sports, some special event, whatever the case would have been. I would have wanted to do the business personally, but at that time when I came up with the idea, I really wasn't thinking of doing it as my business. I wasn't thinking about rock prints. But over the period of time, the building that we would have been working in, it was condemned because of safety reasons. And so the building being condemned, the customers that we would have acquired over the years, we more or less were about to lose them because we were not able anymore to continue printing for them. So instead of me losing the customers that the students and myself would have worked really hard to acquire, I decided that, hey, I'm going to actually invest in getting the equipment and I'll actually do this from my home. So I got a few friends together, spoke to them, spoke with my wife, and after that, I started looking for persons who were selling, more or less selling up their screen printing business in the US. I found one person that was selling all of their equipment, and I contacted him, and we negotiated on a price. And then I got one of my friends in Miami to go to the guy, check it out, make sure everything was functional, and he shipped it off. And that's where I actually acquired the equipment that I could have started rock prints from my basement, which I am currently in right now, doing some work as I'm speaking to you. So that was it. That's basically what motivated me to really get the business, or where I actually started from.
Okay, so a pretty interesting story indeed. All right, what would you say is your competitive advantage in your target market?
Right. The thing that I actually consider to be my edge in terms of comparing rock prints to most of my other competitors would be one, um, reliability in terms of the timelines that persons would want their products. So as long as we would have confirmed everything and you would have told me that you needed it by this particular time, I am going to try my utmost best to have it done and delivered on or before that date. So more or less, reliability in the service of you getting your products when you need it. Also, actually stand behind my work. If I would have printed something for someone, and that thing would have faded in the sense that it washes off after, I don't know, a few prints or one print, I printed it for you, it washes off. Contact me, I get it back to you, printed, replaced, free of charge. I try not to let my customers be dissatisfied where they would have a negative message to spread on the street. So if something would have been done and it would have not been done to their standard, I try to make sure that my customer service is on par, and that is always core to what Rock Print is really about. We value our customers. We value their thoughts. For them to trust us to be the one to decorate their garment for this special occasion is something that we count ourselves a privilege of being assigned with, and we don't want to mess that up. We want to make sure that that is exactly as you want it every time. So making sure I meet their timelines as to when they want their products, and ensuring that what we give is a high quality. And also, I normally involve my customers in every step of the way. So before anything is ever printed, they see what the design looks like, and they more or less see a test print of that design before I even print on any of their shirts. So they know exactly what they're going to be getting before they even get it. That way, they feel more a part of the process, and by them being a part of the process, they're always given exactly what they would have wanted.
Okay, indeed, pretty interesting. It appears to me that you set very high standards for the business, and so
Definitely.
tell me about a time when you might have experienced conflict in conducting business, and how did you handle it?
All right. One instance that I could remember is where I had a particular customer that uh, requested something but was not clear in what they would have wanted. And it was one of those cases where it's a last minute thing. Um, you're being contacted at 4 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, and the person would really like the thing or the shirt by the next day. So it's one of those cases where it's a last minute rush because the person didn't realize that the time got away from them or whatever the situation was, and they would have needed it. And upon getting that done, the request that they made, they were not really clear about it. And I don't know if most persons in small business or in businesses would have had disgruntled customers. It's really not a nice thing. When someone would tell you about your business and they question how you do business, they question your integrity, they question everything as a business owner, it's a weird experience. It's a weird feeling. And I remember listening to this person vividly expressing themselves about me not doing exactly what they would have wanted, and the person was going on. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, how should I actually, should I respond? Should I not say anything? And I tried as much to clarify my end, but the person wasn't having it. The person wasn't trying to listen to that. And all in all, what I decided I would have done was here. My apologies for the mix-up. You know, I took the blame for it. I tried to amend the situation as much as possible, and I left it there. Now, my decision after that was I don't intend if anyone would have came that late with such a great request to more or less not make sure that what they would have wanted would have been clear. So now I actually ask persons to message me whatever they would have wanted. So when I'm about to do a job, what I do is I look at my phone and I actually see what their message was, and I go according to exactly what they would have sent. So if there be any questions in the end, I always have written proof to show them, well, this is what you would have said, and this is what I did. And if I would have gone wrong, then I can always look back at the message and see, well, here, the person did say this, and I actually did not do what they would have wanted. So that would have been one experience that I can recall where I had someone who was more or less dissatisfied with the service. And that was one of the things that I put in place to remedy anything like that going forward in the future.
Okay. You talking about the future? Where do you see yourself or the business in the next 5 years?
Well, that's a good question. Uh, I'm wondering if, like, a question like this, if I answered, I have probably if I was in a different place outside of Montserrat, and I would have said that, and my competitors were listening to me, they might have been like, okay, this is what he's planning to do. I'm going to take a jump on him and, just try to get this thing set up before. But because that's not going to happen in Montserrat, and, we're good people here, I don't think I have any worries of sharing that information with you. In the next couple of years, well, I'll give you two answers to that. The first answer is sometimes I really don't know, because comparing last year and what I had planned for this year, and how the pandemic would have just shaken and messed up everything. Like, thinking about it now, I'm wondering how things would be like within the next year or the next 2 years, considering that most of my customers are persons who are in the tourism sector, persons who plan events and want to have customized t-shirts for these events. And based on how things are right now, that's not happening. But all things being even, I actually would like to see Rock Prince becoming a household name, a household brand that person associate with high quality products and services. Something that not even in Montserrat alone, but within the neighboring islands. I would like for Rock Prince to become a name that is not just known as a screen printing garment decoration business, but is known to be a business of really high standards. I would love to see the business reach to the stage where I can move from manual screen printing to it actually being automated, where it no longer would be this labor intensive as it currently is. And the only way that I can see that happening is if it is that my market increases significantly, either by the population of Montserrat increasing or by persons from other islands requesting the services that I offer for their events or for their islands. So going forward, I see the business as being something that a business that is known, without no one referred to it as Duke's business, but referring to it by name, Rock Prince.
All right then, thank you. Talking about name and why Rock Prince? What's your history on that?
I love that question. Okay, so why Rock Prince? The name has kind of like a dual meaning, in the sense that we normally refer to Montserrat as the Rock. You're on the Rock. And I had wanted a name that would have connected to Montserrat, without really saying Montserrat. Um, so that's where the first concept of the name being Rock Prince started from. The other reason why I would have chosen Rock, I wanted to use a name that portrays durability, strength, endurance, something that is strong, something that is lasting, something that it's strong. Yeah. So the name just hit twice in terms of it being something that I can associate with Montserrat as being the rock, and also something that would be associated with the image that I had for the, or that I have for the business from when I would have initially thought about it.
Okay, it seems like you sort of preempting the questions here, but the next question would.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. What would you consider as your greatest strength and weakness, or weaknesses?
All right. Greatest strength. Greatest strength is my attention to detail in 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 delivering the service. I I think anyone who's in a particular craft or in a particular industry, they always look to see what other major names in that industry would have been doing. So it's I always, whenever I see someone with a shirt, it's not like I'll go around touching person shirts, but if I go into a store that is selling graphic tees or selling shirts that would have been printed overseas or wherever, I go through and I look at it in detail to see what these people are doing, to see the different methods, see the techniques. And I must say, sometimes when I look at shirts that would have been printed by other companies in the US or elsewhere, sometimes the things that you would see being done to the shirts and persons would proudly wear it, you realize as a screen printer that, hey, something is wrong with that particular thing. Now, the truth is everyone make mistakes, yeah? And I'm not gonna come down on anyone for their mistakes, because I too make mistakes. But I pay great attention to detail. And if it is that something does not look well to me, I will not let it leave the shop. I would prefer to go and acquire the t-shirt or whatever it is and do it over so that I know it's at the standard. So greatest strength would be the attention to detail in terms of the stuff that, or the shirts or the garments that would be printed for my customers. Greatest weakness. I think my greatest weakness, well, time. Because this is a business that is not my primary, um, what should I say, income earner, or my primary. I still work at this school full time, so I don't want to say this is my part-time job, but this is my second full-time job. So having two full-time jobs with a family is sometimes really, really difficult. So I don't always have the time that I can be able to do everything that my customers sometimes would have requested. If the late request is really late, sometimes I have to sadly tell persons I can't do it, because sometimes it's not as easy for you to get certain things done within a day or within a few hours, because of the work that I do and the jobs that I have. So my greatest weakness that I can say within the business is not having enough time to do all the things that I really want to get done for Rock Prince.
Okay, tell me a fun fact about yourself.
It's a tough question. Fun fact. Um, I cannot draw. I don't know if that's funny, but I'm not an artist by heart. Um, Everything that I would have learned for the business, I actually learned on my own through trial and error, or from reading materials, or from the University of YouTube. So the things that I do in terms of rapid screen printing, it's not anything that was taught to me at a particular institution. It would have been things that I would have just researched, like from the equipment that I ordered to the techniques that I use, everything. It's all self-taught, right? And I mean, the truth about it is I can't go to my competitors and ask them to teach me to do this and expect that they would have. So literally, and again, I don't know how much fun that is, right? But um, that's the only thing that I can think of right now. Everything that I would have done and that I'm currently doing would have been self-taught. There was one time when I was printing some shirts for a customer that was going to travel for a wedding overseas, and I could not figure out why I couldn't get these things printed properly. And I messed up like a ton of shirts trying to do the thing over and over, changing screens, washing them over, a set of different things. And strange enough, when I tried one thing one afternoon, it worked. And what I did was I took a cloth, I put some water on the cloth, and I wiped the screens before I printed with them. So I wiped it, and then I took a blow dry and I just dried it. And after doing that, everything was printing perfectly. I searched every place on the internet looking for a solution to that problem, and I could not find one bit of material that was telling me this is what was happening and this is what you should do to correct it. So again, not sure how much fun that is, but
Okay.
everything that I would have learned and I'm using within my business, I would have learned from reading YouTube or from trial and error.
Okay. Well, interesting. You said because it's sometimes fun to learn by trial and error. However,
Yeah.
you are a business teacher. You are an entrepreneur yourself. What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs or someone who wants to start a business and is afraid to take the first step?
All right, sorry. I think my internet, I don't want to blame yours. I think my internet was giving me a little difficult there. Could you repeat the question for me, please?
Okay, I was saying that you are a business teacher. You are an entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
Yes, entrepreneur. Might I add successful? So, what advice would you give to another entrepreneur or someone who wants to start a business, but they are afraid to take that first step?
Okay. All right. So if I were to advise anyone who wants to start their own business, and probably they're having second thoughts about it or anything of that nature, what I would advise them to do is just start. It I've been battling for years in terms of starting rock prints and waiting for the right time when I would have been able to do it. I remember even before the buildings would have been condemned, I wanted to start it the year before, but circumstances weren't ideal. Nothing actually was working in place. When you know it's right for you to start, sometimes I guess waiting on the right time is not the best thing to do, because you always find reasons why it's not the right time. And if you're really positive about starting your own small business, any time is the right time. So I'm not sure if what I'm saying makes sense, but start now. You know, don't you don't have to have the most high-tech equipment, the best setup that you need to have in order to start. Whatever it is that you have, you can actually start with that. If you only, when I started, I honestly started screen printing with irons. Um, it was 2 irons, 2 blow dryers, and the equipment. And when we started, what would have happened was a group of students would have ironed the shirts after we finish printing them for about 5 to 6 minutes. Right. So one person would blow dry it just to make sure that it doesn't stick to the fabric we put over it when we were ironing. And after that finish, a next set would have ironed for, as I said, 5 to 6 minutes. And that's how we started. We didn't have the equipment. And even as I am right now with Rock Prints, I have a fair amount of equipment, but the equipment that I have is not what persons who would have started their business doing the same thing elsewhere would have started with. But it's just that the things that I have, it works for what I need to get done. So really just start. This is the best time for you to have a second source or third source of income. This is the best time for you to be able to get some amount of freedom and independence by being your own boss. And the truth about it is failure is actually something that you should welcome if you're going to be in small businesses. It's probably not the best thing to hear, but that's the truth. Had I not failed at certain things that I would have been doing, I would have not learned from it and been able to get better at what I was doing. So start now. Really, don't wait. Get in touch with somebody who you can trust that can give you good advice and go ahead. Right? Be careful not to tell everybody about your idea, because two things you'll find either happening. One, someone might take the idea and decide that they have the money or they have more money than you, and they start your business while you're still trying to get things together. Or two, they'll try to discourage you from doing it. I know there were a lot of persons who were telling me that Rock Prince probably might have not been the best thing to do because you wouldn't have been able to get a steady income and all these other things. And as it is, I actually really see Rock Prince now as being something that later in the future, if I decide I'm not going to have my government job, that I can focus directly on this. Or even me being able to say that this is something I can leave for my children, my children's children. So my daughters can decide that, here, we don't want to go and work in the private sector, in the public sector. Well, sorry, not the private sector, because Rock Prince still is private. But yeah, they don't want to work in the public, in a government job, right? So they can actually just take over the business and take it to lengths that I would have not been able to carry it to. So again, yeah, that'd be my advice. It sounds, I think listening back to this tape, I might seem like I'm just rambling, but start now. Don't wait for anything to be ideal for you to start. It's never going to be ideal. You just really just need to start.
Okay, thank you very much for that. For persons, as we wrap up here, persons who might be interested in your product or service, how can they get in contact with you?
If you see me on the road and you know what you can put a face to the name, then yeah, meet me on the road, see me. Outside of that, you can follow my business page on Instagram or Facebook. It's rockprints664, and the same would apply for my email addresses. If you can find the business online on any one of those platforms, you will find my contact number and my email address right there. So send me an email, a message on any one of the social media platforms, or if it is you know me in person, just see me and I'd be more than happy to help you with your screen printing, vinyl, garment decoration needs.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And there we have it. This episode of VIP Media Bizcast. We've been speaking to Ruel Duke of Rock Prince 664, young entrepreneur, teacher, doing great stuff here in Montserrat. And we thank you, sir. We thank you for listening, to the listening audience. And we wish you, Mr. Duke, on your business and personal family life. Looking forward to hearing great things of you
Yes, sir.
and business. This is your host, Gemron
Thanks, man.
Bell, and we thank you once again for listening.